TBD on that whole situation. It's also TBD if the Kings roster is done. And I can tell you this much, they don't want it to be done. I know that for a fact. Okay? From the conversations and things that have kind of passed by me and been told to me, they in no way, shape, or form think that this roster is done. What they're going to be able to do, and does that mean that they'll fully be done with it by the time the season tips off? I don't know, right? Everybody's got a wish list, but they are working to make a couple more adjustments. I can confidently say that. Will one of those adjustments be Richaun Holmes? That's a good question. Could the Kings reunite with one of their old friends and, of course, a fan favorite? So you have Richaun Holmes, who was in Sacramento for a couple years, 3-4 years, man, and everybody loved Richaun Holmes and what he brought to the table. Obviously, he's a dude who's just going to compete at the highest level. Last season, he played 31 games at 7.4 points per game, 5.7 rebounds per game, 1.4 assists. He shot 64.7% from the field for his career. He's at 8.5 points per game, 5.3 rebounds per game, 1 assist, 60% from the field. Obviously, he's not a three-point shooter. 75% from the free throw line. He does fit some of that build that Scott Perry's been looking for a little bit, and brings something to the table that we've been hoping for. If you're picking between him and Drew Eubanks, obviously Drew Eubanks has got the size, and they're not exactly the same player, but I wouldn't mind him. And the reason this is getting brought up, by the way, is because he's been waived. The Washington Wizards waived Richaun Holmes. So I would definitely have that conversation. Right now, where we're at with the Kings is that 4 or 5 combination player valued, or are they prioritizing that over the point guard situation? Let me put it to you like this. I don't, again, just from things that are swirling, I don't believe so. I believe that they are pretty dialed in on the fact that they need something else from a guard position.
Specifically point guard.
I would say so. Not, I have heard way more about the point guard situation when I was in Vegas than I've heard about we need another 4. That's just, don't get mad at me. That's just what the conversation has been from what I've been told and from what I've gathered. That's how they feel. And he said it during the first Summer League game.
Yeah, I think the interesting part about Richaun Holmes is if they had known he was going to get bought out when they did, not like right before the season started, would they have signed Drew Eubanks?
Yeah.
I don't know if they would have or not, because Richaun kind of slides into that role perfectly. He has been a deep bench guy on the Beam team. One of my favorite Richaun Holmes stats is that he's now the only player in the NBA who's played 10 or more seasons and never been to the playoffs.
Yeah.
So he knows a thing or two about some rebuilding teams.
Yeah.
I feel like Richaun coming back would have been great because everyone was so sad when he left, right? He was the guy who beat out Marvin Bagley. The first Kings game I ever went to, they chanted MVP for Richaun Holmes when he stepped up to the free throw line. Like, I think it would have been great to have him come back and just be the third string center, but now they have Drew Eubanks, and I know Eubanks' contract isn't fully guaranteed, but we're talking about a vet minimum third center at that point who, the hope is Maxime Reynaud would just be ready to fill those minutes right away, and you wouldn't have to worry about Eubanks or Holmes.
Normally, I am not a fan of getting that old thing back because it's never the same the second or the third or the fourth time around. But in this situation where this isn't your ex that you're really trying it again and you're going to try to move in together, whatever it is. This is, you're at an event. Maybe it's a 10-year reunion or something like that, and you run into each other, and you're just gonna enjoy each other's company for the evening, right? You're not trying to date again. So in this situation, I think that bringing the old thing back, I'm okay with.
Plus, everyone loved Richaun.
That's right.
Everyone loved him when he was here. And the reason he ended up moving was just because of the contract. Like, he was making way too much money, and Mike Brown didn't play him. And so they just dumped his contract so they could give Sabonis an extension, right? It was never even like, oh, he left on bad terms. It's like, no, he just made too much money. Yeah. And that's fine. I think it would have been awesome.
Right. Now, the bigger question is, and there were conversations going on about, hey, Drew Eubanks, could he simply be a camp guy now that we know that his contract isn't guaranteed, or, would he even make it to the season? How do the Kings view Richaun Holmes, and do they say, hey, now that he's available, let's see what we can do? This is why Drew Eubanks was essentially our safety net. Now that Richaun Holmes is available, let's see what we can work out. I mean, they've done it, the Jalen McDaniels thing. We've seen this before. So, and then they added, Jay Crowder and went from there. Maybe that's only if they view Richaun Holmes higher than Drew Eubanks, which I don't know if they do or they don't. I would think that they do. There might have been a smidge of an overlap with Scott Perry the first go round, or, close enough, adjacent at least. So I would think that they do, but you just signed Drew Eubanks. Maybe it's not as simple as we think, but it would be great to bring Richaun Holmes back into the fold. I don't think you need both. I will say that. I don't think you need Drew Eubanks and Richaun Holmes, but I would rather have Richaun Holmes than Drew Eubanks. So I would have that conversation, but I'm not having that conversation if Drew Eubanks is going to be on the team in the fall.
I think the other part of it is, like, you can afford one roster spot for a feel-good deep bench player. They've already got Terrence Davis. So you might have to pick between keeping Terrence Davis, which I don't think his money is guaranteed. So it'd be easy to move on.
Maybe they go that direction, and they value, being able to have two bigger guys than Terrence Davis, who what did he get? I don't know. Did he get 10 minutes total once he came to the Kings last season?
Most of it was the last game, too, which it was a little weird that his contract was guaranteed for next year when they did bring him in. But that may have also been a Monty McNair on the way out the door. Let me throw you a little bone situation. That's not like factual information. I'm just saying why they did it. I don't really know, especially if his money wasn't guaranteed. But if they did add a point guard, they'd be at 15 roster spots. So if they wanted to add anyone else, they'd have to waive either Terrence or Drew Eubanks
in that process. On the other side, could Josh Giddey's contract issue lead Kuminga to Sacramento? Allen Stiles, Sactown Sports.
Constipation with belly pain that keeps coming back and back and back. If your symptoms keep coming back, talk to your doctor. It could be irritable bowel syndrome with constipation or IBS-C. Linzess could help you get ahead of it. Linzess linaclotide is a prescription medicine that treats IBS-C in adults. It's not a laxative. It's a once-daily pill that helps you get ahead of your symptoms. It's proven to help you have more frequent and complete bowel movements and helps relieve overall abdominal symptoms, belly pain, discomfort, and bloating. These symptoms were studied in combination, not individually. Do not give Linzess to children less than 2. It may harm them. Do not take Linzess if you have a bowel blockage. Get immediate help if you develop unusual or severe stomach pain, especially with bloody or black stools. The most common side effect is diarrhea, sometimes severe. If it's severe, stop taking Linzess and call your doctor right away. Other side effects include gas, stomach area pain, and swelling. Talk to your doctor and say yes to